It's just a quick little Saturday vlog for you. I was up late at this amazing sushi restaurant last night here in Chicago. This place called Arami, A-R-A-M-I. It's a newer place. Actually, some friends of ours opened it. It's their fourth restaurant. Anyway, cutting edge sushi kind of stuff, not just, they don't even have a California roll on the menu. They weren't selling any because everything else is so much better. Why would you eat a California roll? You can get your basic grocery store nowadays and get a fair to middling California roll. Or you can put it on the menu. Anyway, if you're in Chicago, go to Arami now. Not cheap, but it's worth it. Oh, it's also BYOB, which is not a bad thing either. Anyway, so that was thing number one. Thing number two, if you follow the Vlogbrothers, check out John's most recent post about Esther. Esther's a 16-year-old girl who passed away. Learned something about John. I did not know that John had been a chaplain. I don't know what particular strain of God stuff he follows, but he's clearly working it. It's an excellent vlog about Esther, who had been sick for a long time, who at the age of 16 died this week. Beautiful vlog. I'll put a link to it down there in the linky dink. And finally, I'm working on my sermon for Sunday. A couple things. It's a picnic service. We're outdoors, so it's not as long as my sermons usually are. Not that my sermons are long, but I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to give myself a page and a half to work from. Somehow in that page and a half, I need to talk about this story. So Jesus is eating with the Pharisees, and they're clearly trying to frame him for some stuff. They've got all the bigwigs in the same room, and they're going to work through this stuff with him, and they're try to kick his ass. And anyway, it's the paragon of those Socratic stories that you hear about Plato and Aristotle and Socrates. These stories where the philosophers gang up on one another and ask hard questions. Luke is writing this story, so he tends to put Jesus in that same sort of mode. But it's all about hospitality and humility. For those who have no place in society, they aren't supposed to be jockeying for the higher place. They are to wait, but that doesn't mean wait their turn. No, because that's only half the story. The other half of the story is the people who have the sense of place are being told by Jesus to invite in the poor, the crippled, the have-nothings, and to serve them first. You're not supposed to wait your turn. You're not supposed to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and nor is it communism redistribution of wealth, though there's clearly a redistribution of place. There's this thing called holy poverty. This is not to say that people who have nothing in sub-Saharan Africa are holier than people who have a shit ton in Manhattan. But there is this thing called giving up, losing our sense of place, our sense of privilege, to recognize that it is in the end meaningless. And Luke will say, woe to you who have now, because you might not in the kingdom of heaven. And just for the record, the kingdom of heaven is now, right? For Luke. It's not something you wait for. Those are my thoughts this morning. I hope you're having a great week. I owe Two Dorks a video, and I realize that. Ben's been holding down the fort there really well. Pay him a visit. Yeah. It's a beautiful day.